Wookiee religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Today, I'm going to show you how to make an awesome Star Wars blaster just like this one for about $50. Let's get started. After looking at a few different options, I settled on making a DC-17, which is the blaster pistol that Captain Rex carries. The first thing I had to do was find a good model, and I found a really nice one by a guy called Jetstorm 3D. As you can see, it's split into 12 different parts for easy printing, and it includes plenty of room for electronics. You also only need supports for the main body and probably these top pieces here, depending on your printer. Now, depending on the slicer for your 3D printer, you may be able to paint on supports so that you only have them in, say, the trigger area of the main body. But in my software, you can only specify a maximum angle after which supports will be printed. So I chose 80 degrees and it turned out fine. I printed everything at 0.3mm thickness except for these detail parts, which I batched together and printed at 0.1mm. Now, I ended up using this matte 3D printer filament for the first time, and it actually worked really well. The layer lines are definitely less obvious than they were with the shiny filaments, but there are still some layer lines and there are brims on the pieces where they were touching the build plate, so we do have some sanding to do. I used 100 grit sandpaper for this. You can use something similar, and it did take a while. You'll probably need about an hour to sand these parts down, but it will feel like 10 hours. Once you're done though, you can make a pretty cool montage. The last thing we need to do before building the electronics is paint. Now, obviously, someone like me would remember that some of the pieces are just connectors, and we don't want to paint them. In fact, if you painted those pieces, it would make them not fit, so they wouldn't be useful as connectors anymore. Okay, I forgot that part. I ended up using some glue to assemble mine instead of these snaps and the connector, but if you want to do it the proper way, Jetstorm's video is linked in the description, and he shows you how to do that. And while you're down there, so the model is ready to be assembled, and we just need to load it up with electronics. Now, if all we wanted was an LED, we could just throw in an LED, a battery pack, and a button and call it a day. But we want sound too, and it would be nice if we could use an RGB LED to blast different colors. Actually, that's not canon.
Oh yeah? Check this out.
So we're going to be using an RGB LED. And I've got all of the materials linked down below, but the LEDs are typically 5mm, which is exactly the diameter that the blaster is printed for. To control it, we'll need an Arduino board, and it looks like the Nano will fit pretty nicely, and for the sound system, we'll need to buy a DF player, which is an SD card reader and a speaker driver rolled into one. You'll also need a micro SD for this if you don't have one. Now, the DF player can supply 3 watts of power, but I couldn't find a 3-watt speaker that would fit into the blaster. It's a pretty small space. So instead, I decided to add 2 of these 1-watt speakers. We'll also need a limit switch for the trigger, and the model was designed to hold a battery case with 3 AAAs. So this one works perfectly. The last thing you'll need is a spring for the trigger, but you probably have one in one of your pens. You're looking for a spring that's 5mm wide and 30 long. It'll look something like this. You can also do it with other springs, but the 5mm ones are the strongest and they fit perfectly with the 3D model. Now for the assembly. Speaking of assembly, did you know PCBWay offers assembly services? Like, in addition to their PCB manufacturing services, their CNC milling service, and their 3D printing service. I wonder what you could use that for. Yeah, you can basically manufacture anything you need for your project without a massive manufacturing floor and without needing to order thousands of units. So head on over to PCBWay.com and get your project manufactured right now. The first thing I did was solder the battery holder to the VIN port and the ground port on the Arduino. Then I did the connections from the Arduino to the DF player. So power from the 5-volt wire to the DF player's VCC, which is all the way on the left, then ground from the Arduino to the DF player on the second to rightmost pin. and data from ports 10 and 11 to the DF player's second and third pins. Then I soldered the wires from the Arduino to the button. Now the button is a 3-pin button. So we have the common pin, here it's on the right, then we have the normally open in the middle, and then the normally closed on the left. So the common pin I'll connect to a data pin, then the normally open will connect to ground, and the normally closed will connect to 5 volts. So when the button is up or unpressed, it'll be sending 5 volts to the Arduino, and when we press the button, it will switch to connecting that data pin to ground, and will send a low signal to the Arduino. So we'll go from D3 to the left pin, then from ground to the middle pin, and from 5 volts to the center pin. For the RGB LED, we need 4 wires, and keep in mind they're going from the handle of the blaster all the way up to the tip. So if you want to be able to pull out everything out of the handle, then you need them to be pretty long. The longest lead on the LED is ground, so you need to make sure you connect this to ground or the LED won't work, but the other 3 pins are red, green, and blue, and it doesn't matter if you get the order mixed up because you can just adjust the program to get it working. I'll connect ground to this ground pin, which unfortunately we've already connected something else to, so we'll have to connect it on top of that. It's not the best solder joint, but it'll work. And then I'll connect the other 3 pins to A3, A4, and A5. We can use any of the analog pins except for A6 and A7, which are input only, so watch out for those. The last thing we need to do is solder on the speakers. The wires for the speakers on the DF player are on either side of the ground wire. And it doesn't matter which side goes to which speaker, but you do want to make sure that the same wire goes to both speakers' positives and both speakers' negatives if you're using multiple speakers. Otherwise, they'll be sort of working against each other. Now that all of the soldering was complete, it was time for the final assembly. I slid the RGB LED up first and made sure it went all the way to the end and out the tip. I put the little circle piece on first, as far as it would go, and then I added the tip and put it in the blaster. It should all stay together because of how tight it is. For the trigger, I started with the spring, which goes in a little hole to keep it steady. It's basically impossible to see on camera, but it's easy to find in person. Then I slid the trigger in. It's easier if you do it at an angle, and you can line the indentation up with the end of the spring and then rotate the trigger into position, and it should stay there and be pretty clicky. I slid the latching switch up through the body and then pushed it down, making sure the lever pointed down as well. You want the switch as low as it can possibly go so that the button clicks the best. I then slid the speakers up and placed them in the middle of the barrel back to back. Later on, I was able to push them a bit more towards the tip, which I think is good. Now, right after I put the SD card in and right before I finished the assembly, I realized I should probably test things to make sure they worked. So I went to upload the program and it didn't work. Now, the most likely option was that the bootloader, which is the low-level piece of code on the Arduino that communicates with the computer, was messed up. So I tried reflashing that and it didn't work, which meant that the board was probably bricked. So I tested another Arduino and then painstakingly switched over every single solder connection from the one to the other. And it still didn't work, which meant that the other board wasn't the problem. In fact, it works fine. The problem was I'd connected the button to port 1 as its data pin, and port 1 is the Arduino's TX port. So whenever it was connected to the computer, it couldn't actually talk to the computer because there were 5 volts of power constantly running on that TX line. So I switched the button to port 3 and everything finally worked. Now I could slide the DF player in, then the Arduino, and finally the battery case. The handle for the blaster is another friction fit, so you can remove it somewhat easily to change the batteries. Since I'd messed up the attachment points, I went ahead and glued on the side panels. Then I glued the top panels together, slid them in, and my DF player stuck up a bit, so I made sure it was lined up with the hole in the top piece, and managed to get the top piece in without any wires sticking out after a few tries. Then I added the last finishing touch, this little rotatey thingy, and with that, the blaster was finally finished. If you'd like to make an elegant weapon for a more civilized age, check out this video right here. It's getting a little weird now.